Funny on eBay, it always or YouTube, it always says I'm live, and then I go back and watch the video and find out that it misses the first couple words that I say. Anyway, today we're talking about King Hiss. King Hiss. Now, King Hiss was one of the most underrated faction leaders we had, and so there's some interesting things that kind of goes on with King Hiss and kind of my own mindset of this character and this figure and what they should have done with him. But this is not just about that. This is about the origins one of should I keep it or should I put him on the chopping block? Where is my chopping block chopper? Oh, I just cleaned it up and put it away, and I don't know where I put it now. Oh, there it is. Ugh. I didn't put it anywhere. It fell on the floor. Chop. So we'll see if King Hiss is going to be chopped today or not. If you're here, go and sound off so I know who's here and who's not. And let me go ahead and swap the camera around. Erp. All right. So here we have King Hiss. Now, what's crazy is this King Hiss is the Origins one. And for some reason, his price just skyrocketed on eBay. He sold out so quick. Everyone was buying him. They had to have him, and it was just ludicrous trying to find him. And of course, I was really irritated because I could not get one. And one of the fans here ended up selling me one at cost. And I was so excited that I finally got one. Now, normally his hands are supposed to go down, you know. Let me swap them and show you. Like so. Whoops, wrong side. No, I had that right the first time. Something doesn't seem right. That can't be right. His head's upside down. You gotta rotate it around. Bum, bum, bum. There we go. Originally, it's supposed to be like that, where like hands to his side, but that's not nearly as menacing as having them up. So I actually changed mine going up. But when you bought King Hiss, he came with an armor head and different arms. And basically, you have to pull his arms off, pull his head off, put the armor on, put these arms on, put this head on, and then he's transformed. Doo-doo-doo. And basically, this part would always stay on the figure. It was his hands and his arms you were pulling off to swap them around. And that's a lot of effort. And so a lot of people bought two just so they could have one snake form and one regular. And I ended up going buying another one later on when they released more. So I had two for a while, but I never actually opened the other one. Hey, Dwight, thanks for joining us. And I decided with this one, I took a black torso and I sanded it down because it has to be smaller than the normal torso. So if you, and if I end up selling this and you buy it, do not take the armor off. I'm cautioning you now, you will not get it back on. It is stretched on really tight. And basically I got that black torso inside there so it wouldn't interfere with the coloring too much. I tried to use a green one, but it's hard to find a good green one that matched. And you can see that black. And it's weird is they made this armor smaller than normal, so it fit on here, right? Which I guess makes sense. So my customization of him is the second torso. So you just have to swap him just like you did in classics. Basically, you have two different torsos. But again, I like his hands to be switched. Rotate it up, flip the head, and put this one on and flip the head. But let's talk about King Hiss for a minute. So originally, back in the 80s, this is the toy we got. And it's like, well, that's really not that impressive. I mean, basically, you have a guy, looks like he's a happy-go-lucky guy. And his one trick, he was a one-trick pony, was he would turn from a heroic-looking human into bum 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 bum. His skin would peel off, which is very snake-like to have your skin peel off, right? Into this terrifying snake creature. Okay, he's not very terrifying. And the way they would draw him, he would just look massively terrifying. But for some reason, these little dinky snake arms and just two of them isn't very terrifying. And he's always looking up. And so as I was looking at this figure, I was like, that is not terrifying enough. And so I decided to make my own custom one. And I started with just the snake part of it first. I was more worried about the snake part looking cool. So let's start with that, and then I'll talk about the shell afterwards. If I can get it open. There we go. And so this was my King Hiss from forever ago. I added extra snakes on the back. Rah! So now he could have a little bit more terrifying look to him. And then I drilled a hole in his mouth right here. I took a drill and drilled it straight down, and you can see this goes straight up and down. And then I took a piece of metal that I bent ahead of time and shoved it in his neck to give him that bend so that he's actually looking a little bit forward. And you can see the difference between the two from the straight up head to the looking forward. Stand. You can do it. You can stand if you want to. All right, there we go. And you can see the difference in their necks, how this one is kind of bent forward as opposed to just sticking straight up, which I just thought that was so cool. And then I went to put the armor on and I realized, oh man, I can't put his armor on anymore. His face hits, and that's why his head went straight up. So I had to take my Dremel tool and I sanded out the face. And look at this. It just lines up perfect with his face sticking through there like he's half transformed. Transformers. And then this was just a rubber band that I put some dealy bobs in between there, and then I painted them the same color, and then it's attached more arms to it to give him those extra hands. But then when it came to the back shield, I just drilled some holes out, and then I just aimed these like this. Zoop. And then I would feed these into the back holes. Feed into the holes. And then I could cinch it up. Then his snakes are hidden before the transformation. Of course, he still has his snake face, but and then pop these on. So this was my alternate King Hiss that I had, which was pretty cool because now I have a King Hiss that's more King Hissy because he has the extra snakes and he has the scary head that looks forward and everything else. And again, he looks cooler in the transformed state than in the open humanoid half state. So what used to bug me about this is we have different faction leaders in He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So in Masters of the Universe, we have the heroic warriors, and the faction leader, whether you want to believe it or not, is He-Man, hence the name He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So He-Man came in multiple ways. You could buy him regular, you could buy battle armor, you could buy flying fist, you could buy thunder punch. So you had multiple He-Mans you could buy. Thanks, man. And then after you had multiple He-Mans, then we had Skeletor, the other leader of one of the main factions of the evil warrior faction. And we had regular Skeletor, we had battle armor Skeletor, we had the claw Skeletor. I forgot his name now, what it was. And then we had the Dragon Blast Skeletor. So again, we had 4 Skeletors we could choose from. And then another faction leader was Hordak. And we had regular Hordak and we had Buzzsaw Hordak. So wait, we also had not just Buzzsaw, but the one with the flying spinning arm too. We had that Hordak as well. So we had 3 Hordaks to choose from. So all the other faction leaders had lots of different versions, but we only had one King Hiss. And technically he was kind of lame looking on top of it. He's supposed to be the faction leader, the leader of all Snake Men, and we only had one figure, and he's looking straight up at the sky. So you have to lean him over if you want to attack He-Man, which, you know, a snake coming at you on the ground like that to attack you just does not look very scary, really, you know. And his arms were so short, and his one trick pony could only work once. Once you showed who you were, unless you were to hypnotize him with your eyes so they'd forget that you were this guy later on, so you can do it over and over and over again, it's done. And once somebody sees you do it to somebody else, bink, done. You can only do the heroic skin warrior mask one time, and then it is finished. It is kaput. Now, in other countries, they did make a King Hiss, um, that did not come apart. It actually stayed as a figure, and the arms were all the way around complete. It was so crazy. And I did see that one thing, and that's kind of cool. And then I saw someone make a custom battle armor King Hiss, which was kind of cool too. But again, if his stick is supposed to be when he's like in this shape, he's a heroic warrior trying to trick him, you would not have the battle armor King Hiss fighting the good guys. He'd be fighting with the good guys um, undercover. So that was kind of how that all worked. So, so you guys know when you got classics, we got a plethora of. We didn't get a plethora. We got two. We got two King Hisses, but I got a plethora of King Hisses because the first ones we got had backward shoulders. And because his shoulders were backwards, I ended up buying a bunch and I would fix the shoulders and sell them on eBay for people. And this King Hiss came with this snake right here. And this wasn't too bad. It's kind of cool. It has two snakes coming up, two here, and that's about it. The jaw was articulated, but still it had the same problem that our original King Hiss had, and that was very few snakes. So I went and made my own custom one. Ooh, look at this. With a plethora of snakes. Psh, now he looks way more menacing. And I just basically glued two snakes on the back here. Came up that I cut off. And then I glued an extra little, actually I didn't glue it, a little extra snake chunk right here. Just to give it that, like he's just crawling with snake. Now he's creepy. And I was just loving this new custom idea. And I got the idea from my guy right here. I figured I'll just do the same thing I did in the past. I'll add more snakes to his back. And so that's what I did, basically the same thing. And it just made it pop. Well, from all the people complaining and crying and everything else, they eventually released this guy right here. Oh, look at that. This was a thing of beauty that Mattel released, and it just even blew away my cool custom, which at first I was really happy to get it, but then it's kind of sad because it was kind of the end of my custom. Because, why would you need this if you got this? So, um, good job, Mattel, on that. That was really cool. And then, of course, we got the 2000X one. Now, the 2000X one's interesting because he doesn't have the same stick. He doesn't have, I'm a good guy, and now I'm going to pretend to be a bad guy. He looks evil right off the bat. I'm evil, and there's no bones about it. So he was just human to Snake, not heroic warrior to Snake. Now, they did give him the fat armor syndrome, which drove me crazy. So, of course, I made my skinny armor version where his arms can actually go down on his sides. So there is the skinny armor version. And I also made a different green. You can see my skinny arm version has this shade of green instead of the weird lighter green. But to mix it up, I made a light green version of the old one. So instead of the dark green, I also, now you're probably asking yourself, why in the world would you go back and make a light green version of this when you got the cool dark green versions over here? Well, it's for swappability, because now I could switch them around and would not have the weird color change happening. So that's why I decided to make multiple colors. And then again, here is the King Hiss. Now, why did I have this one? It looks just like the other one. I must have had an extra. Remember, I bought a bunch of those 2-packs, so I could have um, all those Skeletor 2000X heads. Now it's weird if you don't fix the fat armor syndrome, you get this weird little belly thing coming out all the time. It just drives me crazy. But anyway, so we ended up getting some really, really cool King Hisses in 2000 in classics. And of course, I've made a plethora of different designs for the top half. Like this one right here is so cool. Somebody requested me to make this where it's transformed just like the cartoon. So it still has his helmet and his back armor on. And that was a pretty cool one. And then I made a half transformed one before we got a 2000X version where the snakes are busting out, but he still has his human arms and human armor and his snake head coming out. This was a pain to make. I had to Do a lot of alters to get this to work just right. I actually made his head so it actually clicks on in place and cutting it off there. So is this the one? No, this. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. I remember now. Where is the original? See, on this one here, his head is attached. On this one here, his head is actually removable, and I made it. I had to put an extra socket inside there, so it's hard to turn. I'm afraid I'm going to end up ruining the paint. There we go. So it's actually turnable. So that's really cool. And I did have the extra snakes on there too. You can see them where I actually go all the way down and just busting out at the seams. Anyway, so let me see here. Oh, it's a regular one. Regular. Oh yeah, I did the same thing also for the 2000X version. I just basically tossed the armor back on there. I had to use an extra piece here to keep the armor tight against it, but you can see it's just basically full armor over the top of the snake guy. But luckily, his head already was removable, so it was easier to get in and out of that little neck hole. So there we go. I think that's pretty much it besides all the different legs I have. All right, so back to my original question all the way to the very beginning. And let's see if I can figure out who's, here we go. Here's the Origins one. Is this Origins King Hiss? I don't mind the figure. The figure's not bad. They did a good job. It looks like King Hiss. It's this right here. It looks like a dopey snake the way it looks. The coloring's wrong. It's not that weird brown like it's supposed to be. The snakes are just too cartoony thick. And again, he only has 2 coming out. And I know they made a later version that has 4 coming out with the metal pieces, and it just looks really weird. But I'm just really not happy with the snake version of him. And I'm not even feeling going and trying to recreate. Now, I don't know why they didn't do this. They could have used the same idea. Look, the problem is though, when they were King Hiss originally, this was here and that was there. They should have made all Origins that, I don't know, I guess that would be kind of weird though. They should have done it special for King Hiss that you could use the parts that came with the classics. I know it wouldn't work for everything else and you couldn't mix them up, but it just stinks that you can't mix and match. And I guess I could swap this one joint right here out myself. I still might do that. Because then I could use all the snake bodies that I have on my King Hiss. All right, anyway, right now at this second, it is up for auction. Starting bid, $1, Mr. Krabs. And I decided to at least start to sell them. And this will give me 7 days to decide if I really want to get rid of him or not. And so if you're bidding, I apologize ahead of time. If I change my mind, I might cancel the auction on you at the last minute. I don't know, which I know is stinky. If it goes all the way to the end and you win, I will not cancel it on you. So if you actually win, I won't cancel it at that point. But I may end up canceling it if I have a wild hair idea to customize them more and not sell them. Probably not though, because you guys know Origins is not really my jam. I'm more in the classics and Masterverse for monsters and females. So I did King He-Man. Looks good, like Masters of the Universe Revolution, like part 5. Cool, man. Marx's chop block. Use Turtles of Grayskull. Just need the dark brown wash. Awesome video. Thanks, Mark. I did King He-Man. Nice. Thanks. I like King Hiss, but all the other Snake Men are cooler. Yeah, isn't that weird? I mean, like, Tongue Lasher is so cool looking. You know, you got this. Oh, he's stuck in the box. I can't get him out. There we go. Yeah, granted, I'm going to pull the classics one out because my Origins one set aside, but look how awesomely cool this guy is. And again, he's supposed to be a frog originally, not a snake. But, you know, his purple colors and his lines and his pink, and usually I'm not a fan of pink, but the way they did it together, he just looks so cool. And even Ratlore. Oops, I dropped his head. And the cool function Rattler had, the original toy with the button you'd push and ching, his head would pop out and you could use that to headbutt people. That was so cool. And all his coloring he had was just amazing next to King Hiss. Or even Cobra Khan. Now this is Cameo Khan, but what the heck? He had a squirt feature where you could squirt water. Squirt, squirt. Now, one figure I was not a fan of, which you guys know, is this guy right here. Never a fan of him. But still, even he, even though I don't like him, is still cooler than King Hiss with his cool features he has. Which is so crazy that they made King Hiss the main baddie of the Snake Men, but yet they only gave us one version, and the version they gave us was so lame with the short little arms and everything else. Yes, the snakes were cooler than King Hiss. Oh, I almost forgot. Squeeze. Squeeze was one of my favorites. I used to love to play with Squeeze. I had a whole bunch of this original Squeezes from the 80s, and I'd use them like a barrel of monkeys. And I would link them together, their arms, and I would hang them from my wife's. This is horrible. I wasn't a kid. I was a young adult. I'd hang them from my wife's arbor she had in the kitchen that was you'd walk under for the walkway to go from the dining room to the kitchen, and I would have these barrel of monkey um, um, squeeze figures because I put their arms in like a shape, like an S, and I just connect them all together, one after another, hanging down. It was just funny. I think I had like 6 of them or something, just some crazy amount. And yeah, and so I used to drive her. I used to also take and hide um, Webster up in her flowers. It was kind of funny. Yes, I did other customs of Squeeze. I made that cool Micronaut looking guy. Yes. Yeah, Squeeze was just such a cool character. I love the aesthetic of his legs that they had because it was so different. They could have easily just gave him normal standard evil legs, but no, they went all out and gave him all new legs and everything. So yes, the 2000X King Hiss was a must to give us a new take on what he's supposed to look like. But um the original 80s one, even they did the classics version of him, he was just so lame. Let's see, where is my classics version? Here he is. Especially even the snake they gave us originally, with just the two coming out again, it was like, oh, you guys made the exact same mistake you made in the original, just two snakes coming out. And in the artwork, they would show a bunch of snakes. So it was kind of funny that they would well, here, I guess it has 4 snakes. It has 2 here. And I had to cut this right here just to give it a little bit more playroom so you could actually move it a little more. And even try to get this to actually look this way at the curves to give it a little more creepiness was a pain, because when it came out of the box, it was no, this isn't it. This is my cool custom one. I did save one unaltered right out of the box. Now I can't find where I put it. It's somewhere in my pile of stuff here. Oh, here it is. So here's how it came out of the box, just like that. Whoop. Not too cool, but so just giving it the extra little flare out, just gave it a little more creepiness to it. But all right, so right now, King Hiss Origins is on the chopping block. Starting bid $1. $1, Mr. Krabs. And he is missing his staff. He does come with a shield. He does come with the extra black torso. It's been sanded down to fit in the armor. Again, don't take the armor off. The torso underneath has some really thin worn spots where I had to sand it almost through. So it is in scary shape underneath that armor. The armor is probably holding it together. And the reason why I did that is for quick changeability. Otherwise, you'd be stuck tearing the arms off each time and the head off each time. This way, it's just one connection point. And I just do not like the snakes. That's why I'm getting rid of them. Even though I don't mind heroic looking person that he is. All right, let's check out your guys' final comments. Would you consider 3D printing? I know you play with that too, but yeah, detail on printing on his torso may be hard. Well, it's funny you should say that because where is it? This here, I did 3D print the shell here, and I did 3D print the crown piece that goes on top. So this is 3D printed here, and I had to make it so it would fit on nice and tight on the back side there. So this particular piece is actually 3D printed, not the snakes, just the armor and the top piece. So yes, I've done that before. Now this is pretty solid. I did it in resin and I did it solid core, so it's kind of funny that it's actually one solid chunk attached to his back. But if you watch the 2000X cartoon, that's how he transforms. When I saw it, I couldn't believe it. I had to watch it over and over again, and that guy was right. It's like they did not make the toy right because he still has part of his helmet and he still has part of his back armor still on in the cartoon when he does his transformation. Just the front piece of his armor shreds away. So this was my cool. And I told the guy, I usually don't do commissions, as many of you guys know. I said, if I like it, I will do it. So I made one for him and one for me and a couple to sell on eBay. And yes, and you could see the color difference is not exact, but it's pretty close. Yes, fun stuff. All right, excellent question. Oh, he fell off. He just took a dive off the side of my table. I gotta try to get this back on. There we go. All right, let's check out your guys' other comments. New trap jaw for new He-Man movie. Yes. Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely chop the movie figures soon. I'm gonna go see the movie on the 3rd. And so after the movie's over, I'll probably just be keeping the Chronicles, and the other 2 will probably be chopped. So yeah, I'll be chopping those as well. So just to hold on, because I want to see the movie first before I make my final decision. But I'm pretty sure these 2 will be gone with the Schwinn, and I'll probably keep the Chronicles one just because it's a different styling. Even though I know the core is the different styling too, but yes. So these 2 will probably be going up soon for the chopping block. So yes, they'll be going, but not the Chronicles one. Let's see what else. Oh, thank you so much. I might be chopping. Oh, you have to wait and see. Maybe him soon. And maybe him soon. I'll do a separate video for each one of them, and I'll bring out their counterparts, and we'll discuss the potential chopping of those as well. All right. You know what? I'm just doing it. I am not going to back out. I'm not going to back down. I've decided it's staying on there. Starting bid $1. It's getting chopped. I'm not going to cancel the auction. It's time for them to go. So these 2 as one auction will be going. If I do find his staff, I will toss it in there. But I've looked all over. I haven't found it yet. I'm seriously thinking it's in some pile somewhere. I'll probably find it in a year or 2 from now. But yes, he's getting chopped. Links in the description if you want to bid on it. Oh, chop. Oh, oh, chop. Oh. Oh, come on. That was fun. All right. I just can't believe I lost his staff somewhere. Yep. I think the only snake men I'm going to keep is Tongue Lashor for sure from the Origins. He's so cool looking. And I think I'm also going to keep Cobra Khan because he actually squirts, I think, doesn't he? They make him squirt? No, they didn't. It was a Dragon Blast they made squirt, not Cobra Khan. So Cobra Khan might be on the chopping block later on. We'll see. But I'm definitely going to keep my Tongue Lasher. All right, let me check out your final comments. King Hiss is the reverse of some other figures. Rather than being awkward in other media, he works better in comics and cartoons, etc., than as a toy. Yeah, it is kind of funny that way. Love the Origins figure for customization. Yes. Mr. Krabs. Win down to Mr. Krabs. Also got Origins movie. Got Chronicles for accessories. Nice. Mark, that's a great idea. All right. Let's see. New Trap Jaw. New Trap Jaw. I make King Hiss laughing out loud. I use my King Hiss body for Turtle's Foot Soldier. Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, I'm going to see the movie on the 3rd. And then I took off some days from work so I can write a review and do a review video on it after the movie. So watch for my review after the movie. And trust me, I will give you my honest review. I may have more than one because I notice sometimes when I first see things, I'm more excited about it when I first saw it than as time goes by. Just like with the Superman movie, I was so hyped after I saw it, but then when I watched it again. So I plan on watching it a couple times in the theater. So just so I can get some really good reviews. Let's see. It would be wiser when you mix turtle figures for chopping. Use more garbage, not the good ones, if possible. What's the name of your store? Oh, I'll links in the description, and my name on eBay is he-bro. My name on YouTube is he-bro, and my website is he-bro.com. So you can find all he-bro stuff there. You know, if they did DC Origins, that would be really smart of them because we know we like to mix our DC and our He-Man because ever since we saw uh, Superman on Eternia, and they even had a DC He-Man crossover series of comics. So yes, and I gotta admit, the younger me, if classics did not never exist, I would love Origins. It would be my favorite line. I would collect every single one, and not one would escape my grasp if possible. But since I have classics, and classics do exist, there's not really a lot of reason for me to keep Origins. In fact, here's what's funny. I just bought a commemorative Buzz Off that's going to come in the mail here next week to bolster up my regular 80s line. So, which is funny because you would think, well, why the heck are you doing that? But I was kind of thinking it'd be kind of fun to get back all of the commemoratives. It's a really easy collection to collect. I'm only a couple away from having all of them. And Buzz Off is one of them. And the other one, I believe, is Mossman, which I know Mossman goes for a lot on Felipe. So let's see. My Castle Grayskull look with new He-Man. Nice. Classics are the Ferrari, the gold standard. Yes, classics are pretty cool. There's just some things I'm not a huge fan of classics, as you guys know. One is the fat armor syndrome, which I have fought for a long time. And for those who don't know what that is, if you just joined us, let me show you what the fat armor syndrome is. So if you take a look at this figure, his arms will not go down because they put something here right where the lats are. So first of all, these figures have extra large lats, which are cool. I love that. But then they go and they put armor on and they put this connection point right here so it becomes doubly thick right in that area. Then you go to put their arms down, you can't get it down because of the fat armor syndrome. So I have converted a bunch of figures to get rid of that fat armor syndrome. And in this guy's case, I literally just cut it off. You can see right here where it's been cut off. Now you can see a little split on this one right here because this used to be this guy because I changed the green on him too. And his shoulders were backwards. So I had to open up the torso and switch his shoulders first and then cut the armor out to get rid of the fat armor syndrome. And so you'll notice that I've done it with a bunch of other figures too where they had fat armor issues, but it looks so much better being able to put his arms down to his sides instead of having his arms stuck way out so you can't put him down. I mean, it really limits the mobility. So that's one of the things I really disliked about classics. And it didn't happen right away. If you take a look, Our original King Hiss, look at this. They did not put a connection point right here. And look how thin the armor is there. So his arms go down pretty good. No fat armor syndrome. And the designer who did it in the past did a really good job watching for things like that. And then that engineer got replaced with a different engineer. And all of a sudden, our first fat armor figure that really had an issue was, what was his name? He was from New Adventures. And he's the guy that's the fisherman guy. We used to call him Steve Fisher, my kids and I. But that's not his name, obviously. Hydron, is that his name? I don't know. Let's see. Someone's going to post it on here. So, Todd, Wonder Woman in Mattel. Thoughts? Yes, that would be so cool. I do have 21 Castle Grayskulls with He-Man movie. Wow. 21 Castle Grayskulls. That is crazy. Yes, the fat armor syndrome. Classics is good, but the female figures are not the gold. Yeah, the female figures do have some issues, especially when Super 7 took over. Man, I tell you, that Tila that one time was just horrible. And then, of course, the head for Frosta, which was what Mattel doing, that was bad too. They did a great job with Tila originally. That was amazing. She-Ra looks great. Some other figures look great too, but again, same issue towards the end of the line. And then when the Super 7 took over, something just went wrong. Totally wrong. All right, I'm going to end this video soon. But before I do, I got to prop one more time. For those that just joined, he's up on eBay. The link's in the description. Right at the top of the description, you can click it. Clicking it does help our channel. And starting bid $1. And he is missing his green staff. If I happen to find it, I'll take a picture of it and add it in the auction so you know. And then I'll send it to you in the mail. But I'm probably not going to find the green staff because I went through a bunch of boxes today trying to find it. Anyway, there you go. That's my story. New Trapjaw looks good. And Snake Mountain. Nice. Oh, someone already bid on it. Hey, all right. $1, Mr. Krabs. Scuba Steve. Yeah, we used to call him Steve Fisher. My kids named all the figures something different. It was funny. Like my granddaughter calls him Snake Guy when he has the snake legs on. And so she runs around with a snake head and the snake legs and calls him Snake Guy. And it's funny, being Snake Guy's leftover pieces, he actually has this snake top on him and these snake legs. So this is what he looks like, Snake Guy. She runs around, Snake Guy, Snake Guy. Oh, it's hilarious. Or like, what was his name? Jitsu. My kids used to call $1 Million Hand. Yes, because of his gold hand. $1 Million Hand. All right, I guess that is it. Mark said good journey, so let's call it good. Let me turn the camera around. Good journey, you guys. Thanks for joining me. And yes, it's a little sad getting rid of him, but it's worth it to get rid of him. So I don't know what they were thinking. I mean, they could have made it, especially since it's detachable. They could have made him so much cooler with lots of arms and all kinds of stuff. And, they could have added something to his back with arms coming out. Just gave him the snake fearsome look. But I don't know. And if they were going to make it like this, they could have made it where it was like the old one, where the armor actually popped off everywhere and then gave us some snake things coming out. Anyway. Good journey. Bye now.